Kalau mau buka kamera, buka saja macam biasa. If you have any question, you can unmute. All right, recording has started. So before I do the experiment in the lab, there are a few things that you need to know. So I need to share screen and show you my slide first. Sekejap. There is video as well, so make sure. Ada soalan? Siapa tu? Yes, Radia?
Teacher, what did you say earlier? I was lagging. Huh?
What did you say?
No, I was lagging. I didn't hear what you said earlier.
Oh, no, I was telling you, right now I'm in the lab. So this is the lab and where you will be when you're in the physical class. So today you're going to learn science and I'm going to show you some precaution. For example, this one, why is it dangerous, and so on. But before that, I'm going to show you my slide to introduce you on science. Okay, so let me share my slide first. All right, now science is an important part of knowledge, and knowledge is power. And as you can see on the image on top there, it's linked to one another. So science, you can see it in everything, whether you study maths, social study, music, or any other subject, science is there. And if you look at the image at the bottom there, you can see that there are people talking about different kind of thing, but it's linked to one another. If you look at the first person, they're talking about renewable energy. The second person is talking about medical. The third person is talking about space. The fourth person is talking about science in general, and the last person is talking about physics. So the more you learn, the more you get to understand how things work around you. And it's important to have this knowledge because humans are arrogant, not because they are knowledgeable, but instead it's the lack of it. So there are some people in this world, they feel that they're very good at something, that they become arrogant. But in reality, it's because that they think they know everything, but it's not. Arrogant is sifat syaitan. Pasal masa dulu juga, masa when Nabi Adam was created, Allah say, bow to Nabi Adam, syaitan. Then Shaitan said, no, I am more smarter than him. I am better than him. I am fire. He's just sand. He's just tanah. Then he doesn't want to bow to human because he is arrogant. So sampai tak kena buang syurga. Sama juga kita ni. So when we learn more, you become humble. Bukannya makin sombong. Because the moment you learn more knowledge, you realize that you do not know everything. And that's why you become more thankful. Okay, now science is in everything. If you look here, it's linked to many different sectors: mechanical, natural, social, humanities, and so on. And these are the whole list of different fields of science. Banyak kalau kan saya explain things putting. There's a lot. Now, even if you look at the very beginning, it says acoustic, the study of sound. So it means that in order for you to become a good singer, you need to understand the science behind it as well. So people who sing, they understand how their voice are projected, how their voice box, the size of their voice will affected, how they control their stomach. So if you want to become a good singer, you need to know the science behind it. So same with other sector as well. In order to become astronaut, you need to know the science behind it. Chemistry, biology, all those things. Embryology, yang pentingnya logi mean the study of even history. Studying history, there's science behind it. Geology as well. So everything involves science. Yep.
What about things that are myths?
Things that are myths?
Yeah, myths. Sorry.
What do you mean?
I mean, some
Yes.
sorry for wasting your time.
No lah, tanya saja. Write down our chat.
No. I mean, like, never mind. I don't think it's the related.
No, he meant myth. Myth.
With
myth.
Apa tu?
Myth.
Mythical. So mythical stuff, myth, basically, mm, for example, mythical. Give me one example of mythical stuff.
In dragon.
Okay, a dragon. Okay, there is one that look like a dragon called Loch Ness. So Loch Ness monster was very famous. Bigfoot is also famous. So they thought that this didn't exist, and then they suddenly get a picture of it, and then they prove it, and at the same time they disprove it. Until now, they do not now have any. They didn't manage to see Loch Ness. Doesn't mean it's not there because the ocean is huge. So if you study science, then you get to learn the origin of it and to prove whether it's true or not. Now, what the science right now is proving not to be true doesn't mean that in the future it will not be true. Because the more we learn technology, the more the science improve, the more the technology improve, things that are not real will become real in the future. So you need to have science to do that as well. Okay. Now, definition of science. When you're online, like right now, if I ask you what is science, the first thing you would do, you would Google. And in Google, this is what it says. The intellectual and practical activity encompassing the systematic study of structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation and experiment. They use all these big words, which make it difficult to understand. And if you use from a reputable website like this one, Britannica, so this is a good source for academic. It says science is any system of knowledge that is concerned with the physical world and its phenomena that entail unbiased observations and systematic experimentation. In general, a science involves a pursuit of knowledge covering general truth or the operation of fundamental laws. Again, a lot of big words. And if you refer to dictionary like Merriam-Webster, so this one has been there since 1828. Science is knowledge about or study of the natural world based on facts learned through experiment and observation. And all these three sources mention different things, but there are two words that they repeat. Cuba kamu lihat benar-benar the top screen. What are the two words that being repeated there? Ada ya in the definition, two words, and this one define a science. Cuba mu cari and tell me what is the word. Apa? I'm waiting. The word that was repeated in all three.
Science.
Nope. Of course, science will be repeated. Other than that. Oops. Apa lagi? Start with letter E and O.
Experiments.
Experiments and observation.
Correct. So the first one is observation. Here it mentioned observation. Here it mentioned observation. Here it mentioned observation. What else?
Experiments.
Experiments, correct. So science involves these two, observation and experiment. And I'm going to show you a short example after this. You don't have to memorize this definition because if you look to your textbook, so right now take your textbook, keluarkan textbook kamu, page 3, and it will mention this one. Science help us to understand things we see around us and understand how it affects our life. So take out your textbook and I want you to highlight this. So kalau kamu open your textbook page 3, you will see this. So highlight here. I want your book to be highlighted like this as well. Okay, make sure kamu highlight. You need to have your book by the side. So that one. Study of science, understand the things we see and how they affect our lives. Apa?
I don't have a highlighter with me right now.
Okay, so in the next class, make sure you have the highlighter. So right now, since this one is recorded, you can highlight it next time as well. Okay, your textbook is important for you to refer, for you to study, because you paid for it. So might as well utilize it. Now, when it says we see things around us, the word see mean observe, observation. When we see things around us, we start to question, how does that happen? How does it work? And so on. And in order to understand that, we understand how it works, and that one is through experiment. And I'm going to show you a very simple experiment. Now, saya keluar dulu. Can you see me? Nampak,
Yes.
sir?
Yes.
Alright. So right now I'm holding a flask. So it's empty flask, and I'm gonna fill this one with water. So this one is water. I'm gonna fill it with water. So turunkan sikit. Allah. Okay. So this water is colorless, but as a scientist, you cannot determine whether this one is water immediately, because different kind of chemical can be transparent as well. However, as you learn science, you'll get to understand that you can identify this is water by using a chemical. So here we have a chemical called indicator. So when we add indicator into water, you see it's colorless, and we put indicator into it, 3, 4, 5, 6 drop, you'll see the color change to orange. Saya tambah lagi ya. Kemahalangan tu sekejap. I'll get clean water. Give me a second, getting water. Alright, so this one is tap water. Tadi kamah. So when we add indicator into clean water, you'll see the color become warna apa?
Green.
It's green. So like this, using indicator, we can identify green is water. This is how scientists identified whether the substance is water or poisonous chemical. For example, I'm gonna put a poison into this one, and you'll see what the color will change to. So this one is a poison. And I'm gonna put this one, just 2 drops of the poison, and you see what happened. 1, 2. And from the green color, it changes to red. And this is how scientists identify, oh, it's no longer water, it's something else. And when you're poisoned like this, you need to take medicine. For example, this one is the medicine. And let's see if you can make the poison disappear when you add some medication. So let's add few drops slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, not enough medication, still red. So let's add some more. Masih, mananya the poison is very, very strong. So you need to add a lot of medication in order to, that's why orang sakit doesn't immediately get better. And Bismillah, it changes to green, a darker green. It means you are healthy. You're okay again. However, if you take too much of the medication, okay, one of you asks how? Science. Yes, and you will get to do this when you are in year 8. So hopefully you will be back by then and you'll get the chance to do this. And if you add more of this, let's add more. Anything that is useful can become poisonous as well. You see the color will change again. And when it becomes blue or purple, it means it's already bad. So now it's purple. So when you understand how things work, you can do things like this, macam magic, correct? Okay, so it's cool. So let us continue some more. Right? So let me share my screen again. Yep.
Have you ever
Yes, Zahira.
experimented on lava pour?
Experiment on what?
Lava. Right, lava.
Lava. Do we have lava in Brunei?
I have no idea.
We don't. Unfortunately, we don't. Apa tu? You die, you sleep. Apa kando? I haven't read the text. Let me read sekejap. What happened if you drink it? Shall I?
No.
Then no, it's this one is dangerous. So after when you're done with the experiment, you throw it away. So don't play around with chemical. That's why there are a few things that you need to follow when you're in the lab. Okay, so let me put that away and let's continue. There are a few other things that I want to show to you. Okay, let's continue first. Next one. Right, so observation and doing experiment, like I said just now, when you do experiment, you observe first, why does the color change? You will always ask question. Scientists must ask questions to carry out scientific investigation. You don't just do it randomly. You need to read first on how to do it, and then you figure out what happened as you do the experiment. And when you do experiment, you are doing it in the lab, like this one here. You can do it at home, but it's very difficult because it's not a control location. Okay, so experiments are conducted in the laboratory with proper procedure. Or proper scientific investigation. Important reminder, these are the three things that you need to do when you go to the lab. You need to know the laboratory safety rules. You need to understand what is the different hazard symbol, and you need to know what to do when there's accident. So first aid treatment. Now, like I said, your textbook is important. If you're in the lab right now, I will be asking you guys to open your textbook to go to page 3 to 5. So if you look at your textbook, page 3, it will show you this. There are 12 laboratory safety rules that you need to follow, and you have to remember all of this. So number 1, follow instruction given by a teacher. Number 2, always handle equipment properly, because some of this chemical can be very dangerous. If you don't handle it properly, you can get hurt. Number 3, obviously do not eat or run in the lab, because if you eat in the lab, you can get poisoned, and you don't play around with poison in the chemical in the lab. When you run or play, you might fail and then jadi accident. Pernah dulu orang luka, so we don't want that to happen. And when you mix chemical, you need to wear safety goggles. Number 5. Number 6, do not place books or pieces of paper near a flame. So when you come back to school nanti, then you can buat experiment on fire. So if you put pieces of paper near to a flame, you can get hurt. And it's important for us to wear lab coat as well. Let me find my lab coat. So lab coat you will be wearing when you're in the lab. This one will protect you from fire to a certain extent. Number 7, do not pour your solution back into the bottle, because when you pour it back, then the chemical is no longer usable. Do not dispose corrosive liquid or solid waste into the sink, because when you do this, you may damage the sink. And when you damage the sink, it may cost us thousands to repair. It happens before, and we don't want it to happen anymore. Number 9, do not point the mouth of test tube to another person during heating. And you need to always wash your hand when you're in the lab. Number 11, do not tamper with electrical socket. And number 12, in the event of fire, follow the evacuation procedure. So in the lab, there is 2 doors. I'll show you later after I show the camera again. And when there's fire, you need to go, you must not panic. Then you just slowly go up through the door. That is the procedure. There's 2 through door where you can go up. So all these rules are meant to protect you from being injured. So it's precaution taken to prevent harm or injury. And for you, there should be at least 5 that you memorize. And the one that always come out in exam is this one, number 2. They always ask this. So memorize the one I take note of. Number 5, number 7, number 8, number 9, and number 11. This will be in your test. So This will be in your test. This will be asked in your midday exam. So make sure you memorize these 5. As for the rest, it's very basic. So you should be able to answer it with logic. Okay. So in your book, you need to mark it. So let me keluar daripada slide first. So in your textbook, once you have highlighted nanti, you should mark it like this. So in this way, you know what's the important point. And like I said just now, you need to remember the 5. So you can make a circle it. All these 5 points. This one, 7. So circle all of those important points for you to remember. Okay. So when I check your book in the future, I want all of this to be highlighted. So precaution to prevent harm or injury, and these are all laboratory safety rules. Okay, now it's 11. Let's continue. For number 11, do not tamper with electrical socket. Some of you will think, macam, hindi je apa tu, boleh takut kan? Maybe I should try it. When you try it, something like this will happen. So let's watch the video.
Thick rubber glove.
Can you hear the sound just now?
Thick rubber glove. I have
Yes.
rubber-soled shoes, and the paper clip should conduct electricity very well. So this paper clip will be the path of least resistance. This should mean that electricity isn't flowing into me, especially because this is a pretty good sturdy rubber glove, and I really think it's going to do a good job. Let's plug this in and see what a paper clip does in the hot and neutral. Well, definitely got a lot of sparks out of that.
Well,
Got a lot more sparks out
you
of it.
were making
That's
it. Wow, that one
staying very
red for a
connected.
minute.
Oh, did the light turn off?
All the lights just turned off.
Okay.
All right, so if you look at them, for the first 2, it's spark because the current is flowing through your body. Like this one, he's using protective glove, so he's safe. And the third time, he said it no longer works because all the current is already transferred and your electricity will be cut off. So if it's in the lab right now, all this lamp, all the projector, all the aircon will be turned off because the current that is from the socket will go through your body. If we just look at the socket like this, we don't realize how dangerous it is. However, people who work in electricity will know how bad it can be. So like in this video, you will see the current flow. That flow. And imagine if it goes to your body, you will be hurt. You can die. So don't play around. Okay, so inshallah, if you do that, you can die immediately. However, it depends on ajal masih, because there are people who got struck by lightning but still alive because Allah tidak mengizinkan yet. So ajal, everyone is different. All right, accident. Accident could happen in the lab. For example, in this lab, you can see that it get burned. So in Brunei, it happened once before, not in our lab, but in other school pernah terjadi, ada dalam masuk berita. And you can break apparatus in the lab as well. So when this happen, you can get injured. So there are proper procedure that you need to do when this happen. You might get hurt as well. You can get burned. I'll show you later. And you may spill chemicals as well. So all these accidents happen when we least expected it. However, if you are not prepared for it, you'll become panic. That's why we need to get ready for it. Okay. Now, first aid. What are the things that you need to do? If you get burned, if your hand touches fire and you got skull mananya terkena barang panas arah your hand. What you need to do is you need to turn on the tap water, and then you need to cool affected area under running water for 5 minutes. So these are inside your textbook. You're supposed to highlight this one as well. So kalau kamu lihat textbook kamu, let me show. It's on page 5. It shows here when accident occurs, what are you supposed to do? But I'm going to use the slide first to go through every single one of them. Okay, And do not use ice or very cold water, because when your hand is burned, the cell is already hurting because of the extreme temperature. And if you use ice, which is also extreme, or cold water, it can get worse. So you don't want to create pressure to your hand. So after you put in the cold water, your hand become relaxed, or your any part of your body that is burnt or scald become relaxed, you can go to hospital after that. If any substance go into your eyes, you need to go to eye wash station. So we don't have this one, but we have sink where you can wash your water, and we also have a proper liquid to sterilize your eyes in case something happen. So I'm not sure if you can see the camera, but later on I will show you what I'm referring to. So you're not supposed to rub your eyes, because if you rub your eyes, then it can get worse. It can spread throughout your eyes, the chemical, and it will take longer for it to be diffused by the water. And if somehow you broke apparatus, or when doing experiment with scalpel, you cut yourself like that, first thing you need to do, you need to wash it with clean water. In your textbook, it mentioned using soap, but you don't have to, because sometimes it can be, it can worsen it because it stings. And then you need to dab hydrogen peroxide. There's a chemical to cover the injury, and you need to add antibiotic to prevent bacterial infection. In your textbook, it says prevent germ infection, but it's better to change the germ into bacteria, because that is the term that we will use widely. Okay, so when you come back to the lab, make sure you are aware with all of this information. Pukul berapa nih habis kelas kamu? I need to know, takut setelah lebih masa ayah.
11:35.
11:35?
11:33.
Great, there is more than enough time, alhamdulillah. All right, and there could be fire in the lab as well. Alhamdulillah, in our lab, in our school, it never happened. But if it happened, we have few things. Okay, if it happened, something like that, it will turn to something like that. And we don't want that to happen. Nauzubillah min zalik. And we have all these things. We have fire extinguisher and fire blanket. Fire sand is literally just a bucket, a red bucket for you to fill in with sand. Then you throw the sand to fire and the fire will stop. In our lab, we have fire extinguisher and fire blanket. I'll show you after this. And the fire extinguisher contains carbon dioxide that can stop the fire. And fire blanket is like a blanket at your home. And when you cover the fire go to sleep. Ching. Okay, now let me go out to the camera first. I'll show you what's the fire extinguisher and the flame. All right, so in next week, so this is the lab coat. It protects you to a certain extent. If there is any chemical, it doesn't go to your body immediately. It doesn't hurt your shirt apart. You're protected to some extent. So you're gonna do this practical nanti when you're back, and this one is called Bunsen burner. And when you light it up, let me light it up. Okay, sekejap. Sometimes when you do this kind of experiment, you tend to forget. And like this one, when you light up the fire, you can see the flame. Like that. Mula-mula nampak. Tapi sometimes when you're talking with your friend, to a certain extent, you forget. Ha 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 ha. Sekali kena tangan, pop. If you're not protected by this one, you'll be hurt. But fortunately, you're protected with your lab coat, because pernah terjadi tudung terkena api. So when you're not careful, that could happen. At least your lab coat protect you to a certain extent. Okay, nada apa-apa. And there is fire extinguisher. Let me show you. I'll bring the laptop around. So at the side of the lab, we have our fire extinguisher here in order to be safe at all time. And we also have fire blanket. We only use it when there's huge fire. So you can see that the image there showing you a huge fire. And like I mentioned just now, if we need water, we have the eye wash station inside here. Those are sterilized water to clean the eyes. Okay, but we only use them for emergency, so we always keep it in store. Okay. Yep, sleep mean gone. Okay, let me put this back. So the eye wash station itu, ini tadi liquidnya. So we keep it. We don't use it unless necessary. Okay, don't set pepper on fire. I'll show you what happened later on as well. Ada harang ah. Let me continue first before I continue with different experiment. Ini mesti belajar dulu baru boleh buat eksperimennya. Sekejap. I need to share with sound. Auzubillah. All right, next one, hazard symbol. On my table, there's a lot of chemicals. And all these chemicals have what we call as hazard symbol, which is used to warn you of possible danger of certain substance. So if you're not careful, and then you just play around with the chemical, you can be injured. Some of these chemicals are extremely dangerous. For example, this one we don't have in the lab. This one is radioactive substance called plutonium. So plutonium emits harmful radiation. And let's see, why is it dangerous?
Let us recall to the title of this video and answer the question why uranium is so dangerous. It's so because this is the very metal that the little boy bomb dropped on Hiroshima in 1945 was made of. This bomb was designed using gun methods. Two parts of enriched uranium in subcritical state were shot in each other. After being contact, the mass of uranium would reach a critical point, and this will trigger a chain reaction when uranium cores would start dividing under the influence of an enormous amount of neutrons which refracted off the temper made from tungsten carbide. As a result, the nuclear explosion killed about 2,000 people, becoming the first use of atomic weapon in history.
All right, so plutonium was used as nuclear weapon. So if you put this in the lab,
Kucing.
yes,
I am good. Oh, basically, never mind.
aduh, teruskanlah.
I don't know how to say it.
Okay, then type it out. So basically, plutonium is used as an atomic bomb. And if you keep it, there are times that it can become unstable. When it becomes unstable, it can explode for no reason at all. Just now, when it was used as atomic bomb, 2,000 people were killed. If we have this in the lab, at any instant, it can explode. And it can kill people in school as well. So we don't want that in our lab. There is also video that show the radioactive effect on it. Yep.
I don't even think you should have those type of dangerous chemicals in the lab because it can prove like very dangerous for the school, maybe even the country.
Yes, definitely. So most dangerous thing, we don't have it in the lab. We only use chemical that can be used for experiment. However, even though this chemical is not as dangerous, it can still be harmful to your body. That's why we need to learn these different hazard symbol, at least we're aware of it. So if you look at this one, the toxic substance, we have one of it in the lab, mercury. So it can be found inside your thermometer. So if you break a thermometer, the mercury inside of it will go out. And if it goes to your skin, it can kill you within 24 hours to 36 hours. So when if you break a thermometer, you need to inform your teacher immediately because we will dispose of it. So if you see pupil that is wearing something like this and has a logo, that skull logo, it means that substance are very dangerous. Just a little amount of it can kill you. Okay, and irritant are substance that produce vapor or fumes that irritate the skin, eyes, nose, and throat. It means that if it touches the inside of your body, like your throat, it will be itchy, or your skin, it will be irritating. If you have sensitive skin, it will be very red and you keep on rubbing it. An example of it is potassium permanganate. It's the one that used for toothpaste elephant experiment, like this one. And I show you. So potassium permanganate is purple in color, like that one. And if you if you add an acid into it, it will react.
Oxide 35% food grade, and let's go. Whoa!
So you can see fumes there.
Did you see
outside.
that?
And if you look him, he is wearing proper protection. So this one is the crazy Russian scientist. That's his channel. And if he doesn't wear proper protection, the lab coat, the glove, and the shield, and he inhale it, he will have irritation. That's why the symbol is X. So irritant, take care of it. We're not going to do that in the lab, by the way, yeah? Just for information. Now, before I demonstrate to you two of the substance, I'm going to show you biohazard video first. So if you look there, biohazard are poisonous substance of biological nature. It can be medical waste, microorganism, viruses, and toxin. So every time you do ART test, next time you will do ART test, we must throw it immediately because those are considered as biohazard. Whether it has virus or not, it is considered as biohazard. And if there's parasite means things that live inside of you, it is considered as biohazard as well. Let's have a look at this animal that live inside another animal.
I've seen that video before.
Have seen it? What is it about?
Yep. About this worm that
The
likes to
day
go into
starts
cockroaches.
normally enough.
Correct.
You give your
Careful.
pet some food and water. But later, in your pet's water dish, you find this, a hairworm. It didn't get here on its own. It came out of a little cricket. Don't believe me? Okay. These hairworms are gnarly parasites. They actually control a cricket's mind to get to their home, the water. The hairworm's journey starts innocently enough in a river as an egg. One of many in this long string. The eggs grow into squiggly larvae, which get eaten by a mayfly larva that also lives in the river. And inside the mayfly is exactly where the hairworm needs to be. The hairworm uses this pointy part to burrow into the mayfly's flesh. Then it curls up and waits. Because really, it's not after a mayfly, it's after a cricket. So it sits tight, while the mayfly larva turns into an adult and heads to dry land, where it just might get eaten by a cricket that has no idea what it's in for. Inside the cricket, the hairworm goes at it, eating all the cricket's stored up fat for about a month. The cricket loses its chirp, but the hairworm doesn't kill the cricket because the worm needs a lift back to the water. Crickets usually avoid bodies of water. They're not great swimmers. So the worm takes over, boosting chemicals in the cricket's brain, which make the cricket walk around mindlessly until it happens to reach water. Scientists in France watch this infected cricket make a beeline for the pool. The hairworm makes a break for it.
So you see the parasite going out of the cricket.
Still going.
Imagine when you go to swim.
Does it
That's
die
just,
afterwards?
Huh? No, it's still
Will the
alive.
cricket die afterwards?
It's still alive. So
But
imagine you
don't
are going
worry.
to swimming pool. It's
They
come out
don't
of your
target
ear or
humans.
nose.
Ready for more? This one at the University of New Mexico has a whole lot of hairworms
There are
inside
many
it.
inside this cricket.
They don't waste any time curling around each other to mate, even before they're fully outside the cricket. But it's more than a gruesome spectacle of nature. learning about these hairworms could help scientists understand parasites like toxoplasma that make us very sick. As for the crickets, don't feel bad. If they don't drown, most of them survive their ordeal.
All right, so they survive. Fortunately for us, if you get to listen to here today, it doesn't go into human. It only goes into cricket. But there are many other parasites that goes into human body. So we need to be careful of all of this. So those are considered as biohazard. Now, there's another one which is corrosive. So corrosive means it will eat other substance like this one, sulfuric acid, which I'm going to demonstrate after this. And explosive substance such as sodium metal. Yep.
Will the hairworm die if it's on land? Will it instantly die, or will it take a long time to die?
If it's on land, it will not be able to reproduce. So basically, when it goes into water, it will lay egg, and then it will find another mayfly, just like just now. So if it's on land, eventually it will starve and die.
Okay.
But for us, we don't have to be worried. So because it will not attack us. Now, I think for this one, explosive substance, I will show you when you're back to school. I didn't show it to other class as well. I want to show everyone one go. We are not careful with explosive substance, something like this could happen.
Bells. As the pestle pressed against the compound, it detonated. The graduate student was seriously injured, his left hand severely damaged by the force of the explosion, causing the loss of 3 fingers, perforation of his eye, and cuts and burns to other parts of his body. Post-accident photos and video show extensive damage as the explosion fractured the lab bench, shattered bottles, and sprayed the lab with projectiles.
So if you're not careful with the chemical and if you're not aware it's explosive, something like that could happen. So just now the student loses 3 fingers, loses 1 of his eyes, and many part of his body get cuts. Okay. And the last one is corrosive. Actually, I want to show you the first during the experiment. But in this case, I'm going to show you first that an acid can even burn through bones. So gangster used to do this to the human that they caught. So when they want to dispose of the evidence, they will put the human body into acid and it will slowly make bones.
It looks like a cat's feet.
No lah. That one tulang kambing. So you can see it melted. So bone and melt. And you see the acid become black because that one is the thing they have corroded. So only that part of the body is left behind. The rest is black. Now, I'm going to demonstrate. I'm going to show you one more. After that, I'm going to demonstrate the acid and flammable substance. So flammable substance are substance that catches fire easily. For example, alcohol. And if you look here in this experiment, the person is doing experiment with a flammable substance, but they do not know what to do. They step on it rather than using fire extinguisher. And look what happens when you step on it. When you step on it, it will just spread more. So don't step on burning fire. This was in the lab.
That's a blue fire.
They are doing that because they are panicking. Not a sound, because this one is CCTV.
Teacher, one question.
Yeah, awesome.
Did the people die?
Here? No,
No.
they're using fire extinguisher, so they're safe.
Oh, okay.
Did they hurt their legs?
I don't think so, because the flame is small. However, if the flame is huge, you can hurt yourself. Okay?
Oh, there's such thing as blue fire.
I think it's just the there's blue fire. There's two kind of fire, orange and blue fire. So when you do the experiment nanti, you will see the blue fire. Now, before I demonstrate, because after this I will remove my PowerPoint, please take note you have one homework. So your homework is quick check page 5. If you go to your textbook, page 5, there is something called quick check, and you have to answer the 4 questions. I'll give you to the link in the channel later on, so you don't have to write it inside your book. You'll do an online version of it. I'll give it to you a bit later lah karang belum sebuat yang online versionnya. Okay. All right. Now let me demonstrate to you dapan-dapan how does corrosive substance and flammable substance work. Let me stop sharing screen and I need you to see me. Let me turn off the light first. So that is the sink. Like I said, if something goes into your eyes, you will put your eyes on the sink and then it will go down. I will start with corrosive substance. So if you look here, this one is hydrosulfuric acid. So it's a corrosive substance. So it's very dangerous actually. And so this is the one that melt the bone just now. Okay. For the sake of this experiment, we're gonna use tissue saja. Let me get one tissue. So this is just a normal tissue. Allah, spoil. Siapa tu bagi tahu pasal different color frame? Allah, I don't. I want to show you nanti. Okay, anyway, so this is tissue. You just put it into the small beaker. And if you put acid into it, and let's see what will happen to it. And tuang sikit ah.
Be careful, be careful.
I am being careful. Bismillah. And you can see that it started being eaten away. You can see the color turning black. It's melting away. Tissue is melted.
Chigu.
Yes?
If you put something like halogens and acolyte together, will they explode?
I don't remember. Halogens is chemistry.
Yeah,
They
like fluorine and fluorine and what's the other one? I only remember 2.
Yes, there are many chemicals when you mix up that can explode. So you can see here, the tissue become black. It melted away because of the acid. And just now, I can hear a hissing sound, but you cannot hear the sound here. So if you leave it long enough, the whole thing will melt. And it's actually very hot. I can feel it's hot. And I'm going to put it away. I'm scared that it will drop to my laptop and it can actually melt my laptop as well.
I'm going to go try to make pie.
Jangan. Siapa tu ada soalan? Who's that? Raising your hand. Yes, I done.
Sorry, teacher. My iPad broke or something. I crashed.
It's okay. Don't worry. If you want to rewatch later, you can watch through the recorded. Okay. I'm gonna turn off Atullah. Okay. One last experiment is flammable. And flammable substance is alcohol. You're not supposed to do this at home. I'm warning you, don't do this at home. It's dangerous. It's very, very dangerous. And let me turn off the light first. This one is sanitizer. It says that it kills 99.9% of germs and it contains alcohol. So let's see if it's flammable. So we're gonna put some sanitizer here. And we're gonna light it with fire. Let's see if it will burn. And if you cannot see it clearly, there's blue flame there. Nampak? The flame is very blue.
For me,
I just
your
saw it.
I only saw a bit.
your screen
There's
is
only a
not,
bit.
so I can't really say anything.
Okay, but there's blue flame there. I cannot do anything anymore than showing like that. Okay, and if you're using, that's why people who sanitize their hand should not smoke. So smoker do not like to use sanitizer. So for example, there's another sanitizer. Okay, let me put this away. See, carbon dioxide, stop fire.
Respect their safety.
And this one is another sanitizer. It contains 75% alcohol, 75%. And if you put this one on your hand, and if you're not careful, and let's say you're close to fire, your hand will catch fire. So be careful, don't play around with it, and it will hurt. Just now my hand was burning and it hurt. If you didn't manage to see it, I'll show you just one more time.
Be careful.
I am.
No.
I can't see
No.
your.
No.
So there's fire on my hand just now.
It's okay,
So
Josh.
I can't see anything. I feel so sad.
because I put the fire very fast, it hurts.
Not only that, I can't see apa ni, your camera, so I can't see anything you just did.
I see.
Lihat saja recorded sekarang. So human meat, yes, BBQ. It is painful. So what should I do if it hurts today? If there's fire, I should put it under running water. So put your head under running water for 5 minutes. YouTube name apa, Dad?
So we have to wait 5 minutes.
Well,
No, it
teacher,
doesn't sound nice.
teacher,
Okay,
what's the
so now
experiment?
I'm okay. Apa?
The experiment.
What experiment?
Oh no, I thought you were gonna do something.
Sudah, I burned my hand.
Oh, okay.
No, apa nih burn more of my hand? Siapa tuh Kusyairi? Okay, I'll remember you. You want me to burn more of my hand. Anyway, that's it for today. So I'll see you guys next class with more experiment. Bye-bye. Take care, guys. Baca wal as. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wal as. Innal insana lafil khusr illa allazina amanu wa amilus solihat. Wa tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bis sabr. Alright, take care, guys. Bye. Waalaikumsalam. Any question you can just ask in the channel, okay? Take care.